tone comparison while I still have this guitar. This is an Epiphone SG Special 1961 edition. So it's an SG that's got P90 pickups. It's got the thin profile, D profile neck, and it was only released for 1 year in 2011. And I bought this in Montreal for $400, and had it for a while. I changed the stock bridge. It's like a wraparound bridge. I changed it. It was the kind that has a lightning wraparound bridge, which means that you can't change the intonation on it. I put like a badass style bridge on there, which allows you to intonate the individual strings. So I recently bought a Gibson SG Faded, and I'm gonna do the tone comparison between the two. More than anything, just to justify to myself that I should sell this guitar. My wife initially was like, "Well, if you buy that guitar, then you should sell this one because you don't play it." And I have quite a few guitars, and it's true. If you don't play a guitar, why are you holding on to it? This is a 2006 Gibson SG Faded. I recently bought it off a guy, Kijiji. I'm here in Canada, so the prices I'm telling you are different from the US. I bought this for $600. Pretty good deal. So I want to do a quick tone comparison. I'm just going to play some stuff. Right now I've got all the volume and tone set to 10. I'm on the rhythm pickup, going through a Fender Deluxe VM, which is a hybrid tube amp, and I've got some reverb on there. You can hear that hum because these are P90s, single coil pickups. And I'm just going to play a little rhythm type riff here. So these are a pretty good idea. Myself, I think the clarity on these pickups, these are the 490R NT Gibson pickups. They're a lower output and they don't have the covers on them. That's just the way the Faded is. So it has a brighter sound to my ears. That's what's it's supposed to be. And the clarity on these pickups, obviously there's no discernible hum by comparison to the other one. I think the clarity on these is just much better, which is why I'll never play that one again. Another big difference, the neck profile is much chunkier here. It's not the flat kind. I didn't think I would like it, but after playing it for a while, like, I really love the neck on this guitar. It's very comfortable. So right now I'm on the clean channel. Everything's on 10 on both the tone and volume. That's the clean channel. Let's go with the gain channel here. So, curious to know what you think of the difference in these guitars. I much prefer this guitar. I think just the neck itself feels much nicer. The clarity of the pickups, so the kind of music that I'm playing. I think people, when they think of a typical SG, they think of the SG Standard, which has the covered higher output pickups, and I don't really like that sound. I think that clean, you don't get, you know, that nice clarity before breakup, which is what I really love about this guitar. Now, P90s, you know, people say because they're single coil, they have better clarity to them than humbuckers, but that's not true of these pickups, I don't think. Funny enough, in listening to that, I think that sound is actually a little better for that kind of riff. So, I guess the truth is, there's not one guitar for every sound. That's the thing. On a lick where you don't actually want clarity, you want a little bit of like dirtiness. I think that Kings of Leon riff, or he plays that on a Sheraton. I used to have one of those guitars, an Epiphone Sheraton, and I remember the pickups on the guitar super muddy, which I hated. But for a lick like this, I guess you don't really want clarity. So yeah, I mean, it's a very good recreation of that. Maybe that's just Epiphone pickups in general. Maybe that's what it is. So if that's what you're looking for, this kind of guitar would do you fine. So there you see, on the same rhythm pickup, the clarity on the clean channel, it's not the same. So I guess that's that's the main difference. The nice thing about SGs in general, I should point out, the reason why I like them, and I have a lot of Fender guitars, and I'll show you very quickly. Here you can see, like, I've got a Duosonic, it's like a 93 Duosonic. It's a Telecaster, a Jazzmaster, and a few other guitars like that. And I always really liked them just because of the clarity, the brightness, it was just my thing. But after I got this guitar, I noticed that I never would play it at shows, but when I would get home, this is the guitar I always wanted to play just because I loved the way the neck is. If you notice, it looks like the neck is super long. For people who don't know about SGs, the scale length and the way they're set, the neck sticks out a lot more. So if I were to play a chord on the open nut there, my arm is way out here, where if I was playing on it like a Fender, it would be like this. So it's kind of a different feeling, and that also means you have a lot more access to the upper frets, and the radius of the fingerboard, if that means anything to you, basically it's much flatter. The frets are much flatter than a Fender guitar. The radius is 12.5 versus like 9.5 is what Fenders would be. Those are much more rounded. So rounded fingerboards are good for like bar chords. If you're a beginner guitarist and you have a hard time, fretting a bar chord, that makes it easier because it's kind of more natural to the contour of your finger. But if you're trying to do like more lead stuff, you don't really need that. It doesn't really do much benefit for you. And in fact, you have a much faster playing neck when you have a flatter fingerboard. I think it's the same for the Les Paul, but I just hate the sound of those guitars. So the SG is also quite light. It's kind of a thinner body. And for me, I'm a smaller guy. Like having a lighter guitar is just so nice. And so just the SG style is really nice. I just know that typically the SG Standard, the Gibson SG Standard, has like very hot covered humbuckers, and they have very hot output. So it's like even if you play it clean, you get that breakup. And I don't like that. I like to have a little bit of a clean sound when I want it. So that's why I just never like the sound of them. But there are so many different kinds of SGs out there. The SG Faded, for instance, if you're looking for a Gibson SG, the clarity of those pickups of 490T and R is unparalleled, in my opinion. I've never played a guitar with humbuckers that are so clear. I'm sure there's a lot of other guitars. I gravitate towards single coil pickups, so I'm not very well versed in the sounds of other humbuckers. But I've heard that Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates are similar in that regard. The other thing I noticed, acoustically, this guitar is quite loud. See, this has a lot more like top end. It doesn't have a lot of low end. It's just very jangly. Sounds like my jazz mask. I don't know if that makes a difference at all when you plug it in, but it's the first thing I noticed when I played the guitar. I was like, wow, sounds nice. There's something to it. So, bottom line is, I'm going to sell this guitar. I'm not going to feel bad about it. I feel a little bad about it. But, yeah. If you can come up with a compelling argument for me not to sell it, I might not. But by the time I post this video, I probably would have already sold it. Yeah. This is my cat, Benny. He's a jerk. You want to say hi? No, no one wants to say hi to you. So yeah, overall, I love SGs, and I think I'm going to get a different Gibson SG, maybe not a Faded, maybe a Special or something, to replace this one. But yeah, I would be very curious to hear what you think. Let me know if you like the sound of this guitar, if you think that, it sounds better than the Gibson Faded, or otherwise. I'd be very curious to know what you think. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.